All right, welcome. I realized that it is Friday the 13th, and today on Friday, we are recording the 13th episode of Spilling the Anxiety. Swear to God, that wasn't on purpose, but it's a really cool coincidence. So, throw some salt over your shoulder, avoid black cats, don't step on a crack and break your mama's back, all that good stuff that people anticipate happening or superstitions that they're a part of on Friday the 13th. Today we are going to tackle, there are just so many puns that are appropriate for this episode. We are going to discuss something that is most likely going to make me get emotional, but it's like a 50-50 chance. I might just stay nonchalant about it. My struggle with my weight and how it ties into my mental health. I'm going to try to make this a brief episode, but because it's so emotional, I might not be able to keep it short. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So we are going to discuss my struggles with weight and what influences I have had in my life in that sense. And when we come back, we will jump into it. So stay tuned and happy Friday. All right, and we are back. Okay, so my weight. My weight is not something that I've ever had a really good hold on. I've always been overweight. Even as a kid, I hate looking at pictures of myself when I was like 10, when I was younger, because I was always a heavy kid. Double chin, the whole nine. Now as an adult, I still have a double chin, and I'm still eating my feelings. But I think that as I got older, I realized that I couldn't just eat whatever I wanted and still maintain really good shape. Now, mind you, and I think I had this conversation off camera with Bryony Best, but I wish now that I look how I did then, and how I looked then I thought was disgusting. I thought, oh my God, my stomach jiggles when I walk, and I don't have all the curves that I want to, and all this other stuff. Mind you, this is when I was in the service. Now those pictures are a point of reference, a point of pride for me. Like, look, I used to look this way. I used to be this edible looking, and now I look edible for all the wrong reasons because somebody's going to mistake me for a Twinkie. Now, am I beasting? I for sure am. Like, I do have some fat on my arms. I do have, a double chin situation going on, and certainly my stomach leaves something to be desired. But the years have, I don't even say the years have not been kind to me. The pregnancies have not been kind to me. I'm pretty sure that if I worked out in the middle of the night the way that I intend to, because that's the time when everybody's asleep, I'd probably wake up everybody in the house with the sound of my stretch marks rubbing against one another. It is deafening. Okay, the way that my thighs slap or chafe when I walk. There is nothing that kills your spirit more than when your toddler asks if you're pregnant again because you've got a big belly. It's a special kind of hell and a new soul death that I hope that none of you will experience, but I'm sure most of you will. My women out there, I mean. Men, if anybody's asking you if you're pregnant, that might be just extra hurtful. I can imagine. So for me, I was superficial at one point, and I thought that being lusted after and being cute and wearing low-rise jeans that exposed my midriff, I didn't even want to do that because when I walked, my stomach would jiggle a little. So honest to God, I have never worn crop tops. I think I wore one once, and I was so uncomfortable, words could not describe it. I've always been tall. I'm 5'7" now as it stands, and I'm at 220 pounds. And I've got to say that I don't know if it's because I'm top heavy. I've got a decent bust. I am in no way dragging a wagon, folks, at all. I've got a pretty average butt for my body type, and that's the way it's gonna stay. I'm not gonna say that I like it, but that's just how it is. I don't have, so many curves you'll, drive your car off the road or whatever. I have none of that. I'm pretty average, just to say. But I don't, my weight is something that I've really struggled with. It's not even because I care about the numbers on the scale, but as I mentioned before, eating became my coping mechanism when I couldn't drink. Sorry, I was trying to avoid that. When I couldn't drink, I've never really been a smoker. There is it almost feels like I'm cheating when I go and order fast food in the dead of night or after my kids are gone when nobody can see it. Now, I recall this one moment where, see, in the past year after I've had my son, my relationship with eating has expanded, for lack of a better term. It's gotten deeper. It got to this point where at the beginning I was ordering fast food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I didn't know yet how to juggle cooking for 3 kids. Well, not really cooking for 3 kids because the newborn obviously didn't eat, but cooking for everybody in my household. So like my kids and also myself, taking that time to cook. I didn't figure out how to do it until weeks after Daxius was born. And then after that, it was like the only thing that I had control over. It was the only thing I had to look forward to. I'm trapped in a pandemic with a job that I'm too tired to do. And I just had my son, and, his father gets to walk in and out and go, do stuff and potentially go see his friends. And I remember getting mad at one point because he has a friend that's, that he helps, like, as far as working out and stuff like that goes. And I remember getting upset, like, you see me here and I want to lose this weight and I don't want to be like this. And this is not something that you're doing for me. I didn't ask. I couldn't blame him, but it still was the way that I thought at the time. And so eating was the one thing that I had. It was like a power, and I felt embarrassed because at some point he had really done well with getting to his goal in weight. He had lost a lot of weight, and that made me feel worse because looks wise, I feel like my kid's dad is a walking god on earth. He is an absolute Adonis. I cannot imagine anybody not swooning when they see him. If you're not swooning when you see him, it's because you're related to him. That's just about it. So he was getting more attractive. He was tapering himself. He was eating appropriately, eating right. And I was pigging out and being gross. And then it didn't help that when I gave birth, I had cervical prolapse. So I felt unattractive by all way, shape, or form because when I gave birth, everything that came out of me was unattractive. Then I was stuck with 3 kids and I felt fat and I felt gross and I was bleeding longer than I should have. All of these feelings culminated into, like, it's kind of contradicting, but it's almost like I feel gross right now, so I want to give myself a reason to feel this gross, to justify me feeling this nasty. Because whenever I told somebody, I'm like, well, I'm still bleeding and, it's a heavy amount and I'm just doing Kegels to get my cervix back up where it's supposed to be. And they're like, oh, but you just had a baby. That's normal. And I'm like, no, this is gross. This feels gross. Well, what's gross about it? Let's normalize periods and let's normalize talking about female issues. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm antiquated, but I don't like discussing that kind of thing. I just don't. Because anything, let's be clear, it's not just menstrual blood. Anything that comes from inside of the body, to me, is disgusting. Okay? Yeah, sure, everybody farts, but absolutely nobody's going out and doing it in public. Okay? Yeah, sure, everybody vomits, but it's not cute when you do it at the party. Okay? Yeah, everybody shits, but if you go ahead and take one on someone's doorstep, you're probably going to jail. Okay? These are all things that come out of the body that absolutely nothing is cute about it. So, with my extra heavy postpartum bleed that I was getting on absolutely every surface, there was no pamper thick enough. Nothing. Okay, I was bleeding onto my mattress. I was bleeding onto my clothes. I was bleeding onto my underwear. I was soaking pads. It was fucking annoying. And I didn't want to discuss it and I felt gross. So when that happened, it was almost like I wanted to justify how I felt. And I was just eating. And it wasn't intentionally to gain weight. But I was kind of just like, you know what? I've always been good with weight. And my justification was I'm breastfeeding right now. So I'm burning calories like a motherfucker. I'm not going to gain weight. But then I started gaining weight. And I felt worse about myself. I was just like, God, how am I going to get over this? I don't even have time to work out right now. And I did try. But my motivation just wasn't there. And it was like a drink, like I couldn't stop. And then one day, he leaves and he tells me that he's got some stuff to do and that he'll be back. In my mind, that usually meant that he wouldn't be back for hours. And so, if he even came back at all. So I ordered from Dunkin' Donuts. And so Dunkin' Donuts comes in and he comes back within the hour, which I wasn't expecting. And as soon as he gets there, I'm eating. And it's more than one person should be eating. And he's like, you ordered that? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, why? I said, I just wanted to. And I could see it. I could see it on his face that he was disgusted that I was ordering that. Because he finally, he was like, hey, we need to stop ordering out and we need to eat better and we need to do this. He actually, someone was like, hey, we're going to do this. Which at the time I guess thought it wasn't enough for me because it was, I felt like it was just because when you and your partner live together, it's kind of like, if you have a particular goal, which his was weight loss, he was kind of just like, I don't want anybody I want to support my weight loss, but it didn't feel like it was something for me. And I don't think he meant to like shame me about it, or maybe he did to kind of jolt me awake and be like, you need to stop eating like this. But the way that I felt at that moment, it was a combination of I don't ever want to feel this again, so I'm not going to order out, versus, oh my God, I feel like I want to die right now of pure humiliation, so what can I order? And I realized then and there that it was tied to how I was feeling, because every time I felt upset, any kind of anxiety, any kind of depression, I wanted to feed it. And it was stuff that I knew for sure would make me feel on the inside like I was dying, like it would make me feel gross, but I didn't care. And that was a very, very unhealthy feeling. I can't even say right now that I'm not experiencing that, because whenever I find myself going through something, I instantly open Uber Eats and I look for something that can be delivered to me. I don't even know if getting the fast food is intentional. Shoot, even when I'm alone. When I'm alone on a drive, let's say if I'm going to an appointment at the VA or if I'm dropping off my kids and I happen to have money on me, I order fast food. I go to a drive-through because it makes me feel good. It's almost like my symbol of freedom. And that's entirely unhealthy. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I view food in reference to how I saw it growing up. Stay tuned, we'll be back. All right, everybody. So when we left off, I was talking about kind of my recent struggles with my weight, but it goes back pretty far. I don't think I've ever really had a very healthy relationship with food, except maybe when I was in the service. And even then, as my time went on there, I started to slack. As things got worse for me, I started feeding it. I'm not sure this is something that I'm ever going to get over. So my parents did not have the best eating habits. My father does now because he lives with me, and my mother does now because she's been through her own struggles with weight. But when I was growing up, I think maybe like bananas or oranges were maybe fruits that I saw the most growing up, but they weren't frequent. They weren't always available, I would say. My mom worked at Pathmark, and sodas was something that we had in the house. I'm against soda, which is hypocritical because I drink it, but I would never want my kids to drink it. And I know that they will someday. They make that personal decision, but I would prefer for them to withstand without it, like go without it for as long as possible. So I don't let them have soda ever. They don't know what it tastes like. If they want something that tastes like soda, I'll give them seltzer water, but they don't even know what soda tastes like. So there it is. But I remember my mom would, bring things of soda when they were on sale at Pathmark. Until my mom was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 10. And that was when we started incorporating vegetables more often into our diet. So up until 10, there wasn't really much. I mean, we had like salads and stuff like that, but they weren't, it wasn't a huge staple. That being said, there were also times where, and we weren't big, I guess, junk eaters either. But I just have to say that from my childhood, I can't really say that there was. I do remember that when I was in elementary school, my dad had set up a tab with the store across the street from my school. So whenever I got out of school, if I wanted a snack or something like that, I could take it at the store. I could get whatever I wanted. And to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about how much it cost. I was just feeling very lucky to be the kind of kid that could go and get whatever snack at the corner store and just put it on my dad's tab, and I would, go home. This was around the time where this was even before Pepsi Blue. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I'm probably dating myself a little bit. But, I would get myself a soda, I would get myself chips at the store across the street after school. And this would be almost every day. My relationship with food wasn't always a healthy one. And then when I tried to take it into my own hands, when I was going into the service, that was probably my healthiest, bout of food. And but even then it didn't last long, I don't think. But weight was something huge in the service, so I did have to be mindful about it because I knew that I wasn't going to make weight, but I had to make tape. And in order to make tape, it really doesn't sound that complicated, but as a woman, they measure your hips, your waist, and your neck. Then they subtract however much your neck is from everything else. And then whatever the numbers are, which I'll be honest with you, it's kind of dumb because it's like if you're going to subtract the neck, you may as well just do the hip and waist and call it a day. But they measure you, and if you are, I remember like my sergeant taping my hips and being like, oh my god, I would kill to have hips like this, and then in the same breath tell me that I failed tape because my hips were too big. So being somebody with breasts or with curves or with hips is not necessarily a blessing when you're looking at something like that, because it's like, you're not going to make weight, but then you're also not going to make tape, and then you're stuck doing PT, which is physical training twice a day in the El Paso sun, which is hot as balls. Okay, on the day that I left, it was 113 degrees, and I left in July, and I was in full uniform when I was leaving. So that was maybe my healthiest relationship with food. Even when I was pregnant, I wouldn't say that I had. I mean, come on. For my pregnant women out there, my women that have been pregnant, that it's not. Sometimes you just crave something, you can't really say that it's healthy. You just can't. Everybody's going to have their little guilty pleasure. And then I didn't drink soda for like 10 years. And then when I got pregnant, one of my biggest cravings was soda, dark soda. It was the worst because I knew I probably shouldn't be drinking that while I was pregnant, but I couldn't help it. It was such a strong craving. Oh my God. Between that and brownies and Frosted Flakes, oh my God, and ramen, I craved everything that was absolutely unhealthy for me. So my mom cooked with a little bit more salt than I guess I use now. But at the time I didn't notice. And I've just never really had a good example for food. But then when I got with my partner and he got on his weight loss goals, he has actually educated me a lot on what healthy eating looks like and is like. And a lot of people judge because, so I got to this place where I don't really eat beef anymore. I mean, I will, but it's not a preference. I almost always, I never buy beef at the supermarket. If I do, it's usually always because I'm out somewhere else, maybe eating an all beef hot dog, or because, I ordered a burger from somewhere or a steak from outside. But I never voluntarily grab beef at the supermarket and make it in my house. There's never beef in my house. Definitely no pork. No pork at all. I don't eat pork. And that wasn't because of, of a religious preference. It was just more so he didn't need it. And then I kind of just adopted the lifestyle. And I'll be honest with you, cutting out red meat does wonders for cholesterol. My dad had high cholesterol before coming to live with me. And then when he adopted my same lifestyle of pretty much chicken and turkey, his cholesterol went down to the point where he can get off medication. It was very good. So he taught me a lot about what eating was supposed to look like. And I'm somebody, I don't really use a lot of condiments. I don't use salt when I'm cooking. And whenever I cook, I try to make it as great as possible. But I do notice that when other people try my food, they're like, oh, it's a little bit bland, or not bland. Nobody ever really says it's bland, but it's like, you didn't put all the sauces, all the fixings and all that other stuff. And I'm like, you can eat something good that's not swimming in fucking heart disease. Okay, which is funny because now all I do is eat stuff that fucking is probably gonna send me to the grave early. But that's where it is. And I think that it's just, this is my way of coping with things that are happening. And I find myself lately, I don't know. I stepped on the scale today and I was disappointed with myself because of the numbers that I saw. And I'm just like, Angie, when are you going to stop? And the funny thing is, after I got off the scale, I felt so depressed about what I saw on the scale that I ordered out. Like, this isn't even an episode where I have some fucking hidden message for you with some tips on how to deal with it, because I'm still dealing with it. I'm still dealing, and I don't know how. So if somebody out there has some sort of advice, some sort of something that isn't just eat better, eat healthier, tell me, because I feel like this right now, this is my addiction. I'm eating uncontrollably. I'm trying to work out. I am, but I have zero motivation whatsoever. And I even look at myself and I'm like, there's no way. I don't understand how my partner at any point was afraid that anybody would try to come on to me, or why he looks at me and thinks that people would come on to me when I look the way that I look. Not only that, but I'm saddled with 3 children. Absolutely nobody is trying to tap this, okay? It's not the most positive body image, and I don't believe anybody when they say that they think I'm attractive. My friends are like, "Oh God, girl, you're beautiful. I don't know why you would feel this way." And I'm like, "Oh, please shut up." Like, this whole women positivity shit right now ain't cutting it. I feel gross. I don't know how to get past this, and I don't know I don't know what it's going to take. I'm trying to envision myself in my mind, slim, thick, where it is that I want to be. But I don't think that it's ever going to be enough for me. And I don't think that there's ever going to be a time in my life where I don't deal with my mental health in terms of food. And I just desperately want to lose weight and to look and feel beautiful again, because I don't. And I need somebody to answer me on if this is just me, if this is just, I feel like being a mother has ruined my body. I'm 27 and my breasts are drooping further than Squidward's nose. Okay, when I sit down without a bra, if I'm hunched over, they will be level with my belly button. And I've had to accept that. I've got this, those big, like, floofy puffs of bread that you can, they put on Instagram videos that you can cut down the middle, and it's this big thing of bread, like almost like that like a fucking thing of an animation. It's like this huge poof of bread. I feel like that's what my stomach looks like. There is no possible way that when I am getting busy with clicking with my kid's dad, there was no way that he found any of this flopping around attractive. Which is part of the reason why I prefer not to be on top. There are plenty of things that, everybody's like, "Oh, that's just the mark of motherhood. This is just how it is. You've had kids. This is how it's going to be." But I feel like this is something that mothers have told themselves to be comfortable with how they look. So they have a reason. So they have something to reference. Because in reality, I'm not at that stage where I'm like, I need to seek plastic surgery to fix all of this. But I'm like, why does it have to be like this? Why is this a sacrifice that I have to make while men age more gracefully, and if they hold on to their bodies and they don't have to deal with the stretch marks and all of that, and the drooping, sagging breasts, because all they have to do is go to the gym. And most men generally, when they take care of themselves, they age fabulously. I don't know how I'm supposed to fix this issue or deal with it, but I wanted to be open about the struggles that I'm going through with it, because one of my friends, she's superficial. She's told me it. I've told her it. It's there. But she's like, I can't understand how some people let themselves get that way. And I'm like, I understand. I get it. Because it's comforting. There's something about eating something, and it makes you full inside. It fills this need that you have that's just like, even if you're not hungry, it's like you're eating, and it's comforting because it's not going to tell you anything. It's going to taste good. It's going to feel good. And minus the gross feeling you're going to feel after you've realized that you've just been stuffing your face. But I don't know. It just fills it. sweets, treats, savory things. It's all feel goods. And I'm just looking to feel good. I'm just looking to forget that I'm alone. I'm looking to forget that, I feel, food doesn't judge you. It just comforts you. That being said, I have nothing else to say on the topic right now that isn't going to make me cry. So we are going to wrap up this episode. But if anybody else feels the way that I'm feeling, please reach out to me, because I would definitely like to know. I know what my motives and my reasons are. I want to know what anybody else may be experiencing with this. So everybody, take care for the weekend. I am going to figure out my topics for next week and let you guys know on Monday, so you have something to look forward to. Feel free to follow me on all of my social media, and be careful out there. Don't step on no cracks. It's going to break your mama's back, unless you don't like her, then feel free. Go ahead. Have a safe Friday the 13th, everyone.